My veritable anarcho-Bidenists, let us navigate the tumultuous waters of relational discourse as Destiny, the orator of open matrimony, unveils the labyrinthine intricacies of his now estranged open marriage with the siren Melina.
Did you actually cheat, or is it just her reframing? No, I've definitely cheated, 100%. Absolutely. But like, how do I want to? Okay. Here is what I'll say, okay? Sometimes it feels like a lot of the rules that exist in our relationship are set up for me to fail. Let me put it that way. So, for instance, Mel could theoretically... So, like, here's the thing that we've said before on panels, right? If you want to hook up with somebody, both partners have to have somebody to hook up with ahead of time and blah, 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 blah. In reality, there's actually like 5 million different rules that I have to follow. I have to say it ahead of time. That person has to also say it to Melina, I guess. Melina has to be in good standing with this person. They can never have said anything that is even possible to interpret as bad about at any point in time. I have to tell her right after it happens. I have to respond to her text enough during the day that it happens. There's like a million different qualifiers where if I don't do any one of these, it's like game over. So like, for instance, like this has happened several times. I might tell Melina, hey, there's a girl that I'm going to see. I'm flying to San Francisco, probably going to hook up with this person, blah, blah, blah. And if I do that, and if we hook up and then I go to sleep and I wake up the next morning and then I tell her, that's cheating. She'll be like, why did you lie and hide this from me? And I'm like, so like, I'm not going to get into like all the details of all of these, but like that would be an example. Now, there was at least one time where I majorly up. The other person majorly fucked as well. Okay. It was all a fuck. But there was like a ton of like these little bumps that like happened along the way that were very annoying. Because on Melina's end, she might be traveling through Europe with two guys and they get the whole time and she won't tell me unless I ask. I'm like, did you guys like end up hooking up? She's like, oh yeah, we did. I'm like, okay. I don't really care, but it's like the imbalance is like very annoying. And that was like a theme of our relationship, like over and over and over again, where there's like 52 million different qualifiers on like my end. Otherwise I'm like, yeah, that was a really annoying thing to deal with, because then the perception is every time we talk publicly is always like, oh yeah, like Steven is a cheater and a liar and he's done these horrible things. And Melina cheated and lied plenty of times in our relationship. I just don't give a fuck because I don't care. Like I remember one story where I don't know if these matter as much. Like I remember this time where Melina was like, I don't want you to hook up with this girl on the last day that you're there because we're gonna hang out the next day and it makes me feel weird. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, stupid but sure. And then I don't. And then she calls me that night and she's like crying. This is like 4 years ago, I think. She's like crying. She's like, oh my God, like I told you not to. And then I hooked up with two people and I'm so sorry and I cheated. And I'm like, I don't even give a fuck. I don't know why you care about this. Like we're in an open relationship. Why the fuck? Like, why would you care? I'm annoyed that I didn't have it last night, but like, who cares? I don't give a fuck. Yeah, but that was like, this is like the level of like stupid shit that is like existing on like both ends of my relationship. And I'm like, what? Like this is so, I will say how did you fuck so much under that? Well, because eventually what would happen is I would hide things. I would just like stop saying things. I would stop talking or whatever. Yeah. Holy shit. Sorry. My friend just got a #1 victory royale on the PSP? Switch. Sorry. Yeah. Oh. Here's something that I would give advice to other people for, especially now that I can like do my own relationship in the future. Here's something I would give advice to other people for, and something that this is like a boundary that I had for Melina when I let everybody fuck me into thinking that she still wanted to be married to me. This was like, I think one of the boundaries that I'd written going forward. I was like, if we're going to do an open relationship, which I'm only going to do open relationships, okay? If we're going to do this going forward, here's the new rule. If we're apart, we can whoever we want, however we want, do whatever drugs we want, do whatever the fuck we want. And then when we come back, or if we're communicating, we like tell the other partner. And that's it. Full stop. And if you don't like that, it doesn't work. We're done. Because as soon as somebody tells you like, oh yeah, well, we're poly, but he can't sleep over too much, and they can only have 2 glasses of wine, and they can watch movies but not rom-coms, and as long as the girl isn't too old, and as long as blah blah, like as soon as you try to do like any open or poly, and there's like 50 million fires, I'm like, this is because like every single thing is like set up to, in my opinion, in my uneducated opinion, because I've only done like one quasi-open poly relationship. If you're going to do like an open relationship, there has to be like, if partners are getting like jealous or possessive or upset like that easily, then you have to be like, this is stupid. Like either don't do it at all, or like it's got to be completely open. Like it can't be like all the dumb rules. It's so stupid. In my opinion, that's what I think. I think is yeah. I think if you're going to do like any type of like this, like both people have to be like very, very, very secure in like everything going on. Yeah. In my opinion. Leaked something about Dan. The kitty litter story was true, and he lied about that the whole time. That was kitty litter up there. It's one thing to say, don't be sleeping with people who hate you and trash talk. It's another thing to set weird, pedantic boundaries. And frankly, you shouldn't need to set boundaries because decent people would follow them. Yes, true. Well, kind of, like half true. Like there are some things that might be worth like spelling out, I think. Yeah. Now that you're free to talk, is it actually true that Melina slept with girls most of the time? I'm trying to think, maybe, because I was trying to share so many mutual friends with her. It was true that like Melina didn't have an interest in like a ton of people. For some reason, like, yeah, the Red Pill people always thought that like, oh, Melina's like out there, fuck so many people. No, that was a fight that bled over on his stream, and that fight was very real because it was very frustrating for me because like Melina could like hang out with a guy or do whatever, and she has no idea if she's going to hook up with him or not, and then that means I can't hook up with anybody, and more often than not, she's not hooking up with them, and I'm just like, well, fuck me, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, but I think that's actually pretty true of most women. Even women that I talk to that are in poly relationships, most women just don't that much. It's pretty rare. Even for the women that I like, if I had to guess, this is wild to me, but if I had to guess, like the average body count of like the woman that because I've started asking now that I'm in the Red Pill space, I'm just like, kind of curious. It's like probably like 7 or 8. Which is wild to me because like, I'll be like hooking up with a woman. I'll be like, you seem like you enjoy this like a lot. Like, when was the last guy you hooked up with? And they'll be like, oh, like, I had really good my boyfriend. He gave me off super well 2 years ago. And I'm like, why would you not be on Tinder? Like, fuck every day. I would be if I was in your position. I would be so many dudes. I would be eating loads every night. But yeah, but it's usually just like sometimes I go on Tinder. Sometimes I'll find guys. The most common complaints I hear is usually they're kind of like either pushy, clingy, or just like weird. They're like fumbling on some dumb shit, and then they like lose interest for a month or two, and they just don't like have that much of a desire. It seems like even women that are super wired for, if you put it in front of them, they'll jump on it and they'll really take it, but they don't like go and seek it out. I have met a few women that do. I have met a few women who's like, hey, yeah, like I just dudes, okay, yesterday, and I'm still lubed up with their cum. I'm like, hey, let's go. But most girls, yeah, are, even the ones in my circle are way less than I would imagine. But it's probably just, if I had to guess, it's probably just that because there's like a bigger risk for women on the sex part, they just don't seek it out as much because it's like not worth the effort. Like, also, probably because for girls, like most new partners are not worth it anyway. Because for women, like most new partners suck. Like guys come like 98% of the time, and women come and one night stands, isn't it? It's less than 50% of the time, I think. Yeah, it's like cringe. So yeah, I don't know. You realize lots of women probably.
In the Dionysian revelry of confessions, Destiny, like the fallen Icarus, admits to soaring too close to the flame of temptation, indulging in the forbidden fruits of infidelity. The open marriage, once akin to the Bacchanalian festivals of ancient Greece, becomes a tragic drama of passion and peril. In this symposium of relational philosophy, Destiny unravels the Gordian knot of complex rules that governed their unconventional union. The rules, a Pandora's box of expectations, seemed as skewed as the scales of Lady Justice herself. Destiny, like Sisyphus rolling the boulder of adherence uphill, faced frustration with qualifiers and expectations that weighed heavier on his shoulders than Atlas bore the celestial spheres. The imbalance in the open marriage, reminiscent of the Peloponnesian War's shifting alliances, emerges as a fissure in the foundation of their conjugal citadel. Melina, akin to a cunning Themistocles navigating the political waters, traversed her relational labyrinth with more lenient guidelines, while Destiny, the erstwhile Pericles, found himself ensnared in a strategic quagmire. The disparity in standards, a relational Gordian knot, becomes a fissure in the foundation of their shared understanding. Melina, the arbiter of expectations, appears to wield a double-edged sword of relational criteria, one whose edge Destiny feels acutely. Like the unjust scales of Themis, the relational goddess, Melina holds Destiny to a set of standards she herself seemingly bypasses, akin to a puppeteer manipulating the strings of relational justice. Instances of Destiny's disclosure, a candid offering akin to the proverbial olive branch, are met not with reciprocity but with accusations of dishonesty. The relational agora, where discourse should be a symphony of shared truths, becomes an arena where Destiny finds himself ensnared in the mnemosyne of past transgressions, a relentless cycle that echoes like the chimes of a doomsday bell. The repercussions of this relational imbalance, like the lingering fumes of a toxic elixir, prove detrimental to the very fabric of their connection. Trust, that delicate currency of relational exchange, faces devaluation in the face of perceived hypocrisy. The relational foundation, once fortified by the pillars of mutual understanding, crumbles under the weight of double standards, leaving Destiny amidst the ruins of trust betrayed. In the labyrinth of open relationships, where boundaries should be transparent and expectations evenly distributed, Destiny becomes the Daedalus navigating a maze of shifting standards. The Minotaur of relational discord lurks, as Melina's more lenient guidelines cast a shadow on the very essence of fairness and equality. The labyrinth, instead of a shared exploration, becomes a minefield of emotional pitfalls for Destiny. This unequal application of standards, like the sword of Damocles, hangs over Destiny's relational endeavors, a constant threat to the harmony they once sought. The detriments ripple through the very fabric of their emotional connection, as Destiny grapples with the burden of expectations unfairly imposed upon him. The relational currency of reciprocity, once plentiful, becomes scarce in the marketplace of their open matrimony. Instances of disclosure, akin to the Delphic oracle's enigmatic pronouncements, were met with accusations of dishonesty and betrayal. Destiny, like a truth-bearing Prometheus, was bound to the rock of accountability, enduring the relentless pecking of relational vultures. The open marriage, a symphony of shared intimacies, rang discordant notes of distrust and disillusionment. In the pantheon of relational wisdom, Destiny proffers sage advice on the delicate art of open relationships. Like the whispers of an ancient oracle, he extols the virtues of complete openness and security, cautioning against the pitfalls of jealousy and possessiveness that, like the harpies of old, threaten to torment the heart and mind. The challenges of polyamory, a labyrinth with Minotaurian complexities, become the narrative thread in Destiny's Odyssey. The setting of boundaries, a Cerberus guarding the gates of relational sanctity, raises questions about their efficacy in the relational realm. Destiny, like a philosophical Odysseus, navigates the seas of uncertainty, questioning the very foundations upon which the edifice of polyamorous understanding stands. The discourse takes a Bacchic turn as Destiny touches on perceived differences in the sexual comportment of men and women in poly relationships. He, like Dionysus in the throes of revelry, expresses surprise at the reported disparity in activity among women. The sexual bacchanalia, once thought to be a symphony of harmonious indulgence, becomes a nuanced exploration of human desires and relational dynamics. In the Parnassian heights of relational understanding, emotions are the panpipes that weave a melodic tapestry between partners. The need for balance in their deployment is as crucial as the tension in the strings of a finely tuned lyre. Excessive emotions, like the cacophony of a discordant cymbal, may drown out the sweet harmonies of mutual understanding. Open relationships, like a Shakespearean sonnet, require a delicate equilibrium between emotional expression and restraint. The Dionysian revelry of emotions, when unrestrained, may transform the relational arena into a bacchanalian carnival, where the tumultuous ecstasy of one partner becomes the Pandora's box of turmoil for the other. In this delicate dance, partners must synchronize their emotional footwork to avoid stepping on each other's toes. The need for emotional equipoise extends beyond individual expression to the broader relational canvas. Like the geopolitical balance of power, emotions must be distributed evenly, lest the scales tip towards relational chaos. One partner's emotional dominance, akin to the imperial overreach of an ancient empire, risks overshadowing the nuanced emotional nuances of the other. Furthermore, the judicious use of emotions involves an awareness of their impact on relational dynamics. Like the Delphic oracle deciphering the enigmatic riddles of fate, partners must discern the potential repercussions of their emotional expressions. Emotional transparency, when wielded with discernment, becomes the key to unlocking the doors of mutual understanding rather than a Pandora's box of relational tumult. In the relational agora, where discourse should be a symphony of shared emotions, partners must be attuned to the subtle nuances of each other's emotional cadence. Like a seasoned lyricist crafting an ode, they should express emotions with a keen awareness of their partner's emotional receptivity. In this symphonic dance, the emotional resonance becomes a shared sonnet, a lyrical expression of mutual understanding. In conclusion, as we traverse the labyrinth of destiny's open marriage, we are reminded of the complexities inherent in the human pursuit of unconventional unions. Like the heroes of ancient Greece, destiny grapples with the furies of infidelity, the Cerberus of complex rules, and the sirens of relational imbalance. In this symposium of love and liberty, the lessons of openness, honesty, and understanding emerge as the navigational stars that guide the ship through the tumultuous seas of open matrimony.